Morning, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Off to a great Monday. I am in sunny Sarasota at the West Coast Myofascial Release Center of Tara Carrington doing an immersion here this week. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about with one of our clients coming in today is a generalized muscle tendon insertional discomfort. It's not a specific issue. It's not a tear or anything major like that. It is a junky tissue. It's something that's been bothering him for a little while. And I want to talk a little bit about the generality of what we do with a tendon pain. Don't get stuck in it, whether you want to label it with a tendonitis, a tendinopathy, or something else. Just recognize there's a general junky tissue issue going on right now with this patient. And let's talk about what the tendons do first, right? Remember, the tendon is what the muscle becomes as it inserts into a bone. Some of the new fascial research will actually tell you that the muscle becomes the tendon and the tendon becomes the bone as it solidifies into its different type of crystallization. That's a whole nother conversation. But let's talk about what the tendon really does to start with. First, it can isometrically contract, right? That means it can contract without changing any range of motion. It can concentrically contract, which means it will shorten as it engages, and eccentrically load, which means the muscle will elongate as it contracts. So it can start, it can stop, and the start can go in either eccentric or concentric direction. So keep that in mind. Now, it's very, very important here to recognize that pain does not equal injury. You can have an inflamed tissue. You can have a tissue that's just a little bit junky, not moving well, biomechanics are slightly off, hip alignment slightly off, whatever that may be, and lead to some inflammation, does not mean that you're injured. So that's what we're talking about today. So what's the first thing that we should do? Should we just sit on the couch and rest and not do anything? No, quite the opposite. We want to move. We want to load that tissue, but we want to do it intelligently. So we strip it down. We take off the weight, we take out the speed, we take out the dynamics, but we load the tissue appropriately through a range of motion that's acceptable. Maybe we start with isometrics, either in the front quarter, the middle, or the last third of a quarter rather of the range of motion of the tissue. We can start with that. We can slowly progress into some concentric loading. Maybe we do it on a partial squat and we load the tissue just a little bit, enough to let it know that we're working, and we'll pause maybe on the bottom end to get some of that isometric involvement in the whole range. So once we strip out all the complexities of the movement, we want to load the tissue. That's very, very important to do. So how do we then take it to the next step? There's a lot of work out there when they talk about linear progression and periodization. Those are all important things, right? So first thing we do is we want to move through a range of motion that we can tolerate, that's not creating an increase of that discomfort. We want to be able to do this continuously. We want to do this daily. We're not loading with a tremendous amount of weight. So it is something that we can do on a progressive basis, a linear basis, adding just a little bit of weight with each repetition that we go through, each set of repetitions that we go through. Back off the main work, right? Speed is not what we want right here. We want to slow it way down into its finite movements, and then slowly paying very, very close attention to what accommodations or compensations might be there. We can then take it a little bit further and a little bit further. So decrease the weight, decrease the speed, decrease the complexity of the movements, but increase the frequency, slowly increasing the weight as you go through this process, right? Simplify the system, load the system, periodically, linearly improve the movement, and then return back to your activity. Hope this helps. Have an awesome day.